Yeah, he's our favorite nerd. Bringing you news and knowledge from the world of computers and technology, here's Benjamin Rockwell with Computer Talk Radio.
The website, computertalkradio.com, computertalkradio.com. The phone number, 888-NERD, 888, that's 888-6373, 888. I am a computer nerd. Why else would I have a phone number like that? You think I just came up with this phone number, 888-NERD, 888, just for fun? Actually, I didn't come up with the number. It was actually supplied to me years ago. I was looking for a toll-free number for my computer consulting business, and the person at the I think it was MCI. They came back and they said, "Oh, this one didn't work. This one didn't work. This one didn't work." As a matter of fact, none of them worked. But I came up with this one, and I don't want you to take any offense to it. 888-NERD 888. My response immediately was, "Yes, snag that. I love it. It's awesome." So, and I've had it ever since. As long as 888 numbers have been out. As a matter of fact, I owned it before I could even use it. I paid, I think I paid service charges on it for about 3 months, something like that, just to make sure that I could have it. Oh, man. Anyways, you're listening to, of course, Computer Talk Radio. Keith M. Sedor is joining me later on this hour, and Josh Bernstein is also going to be joining me next. We're going to talk some of the politics and tech stuff, and well, you'll hear. First, let's cover the news and Gawker. This just came out this last week. Gawker has been purchased. They've been purchased by Univision, which is kind of strange, kind of not strange. Okay, so Univision is, of course, going to leverage whatever it was. It was like $135 million, somewhere in there, whatever it was, that they purchased Gawker Media for. And that's a big chunk of change. And that means that Hulk Hogan, of course, is going to get paid off whatever it is he wants, and Gawker Media is going to have, like, pennies left. But Univision will now own a number of interesting websites along the way. Gizmodo is one of the amazing ones there. Lifehacker is another one. I like both of those websites. There's a lot to that entire concept that they've built up. And Univision, of course, is a Spanish language broadcaster. They are speaking Espanol, and they're providing, well, I don't know, they're actually growing. They are buying all kinds of different media outlets, and this is a neat direction for them to go in. They are on the political spectrum, similar to as far as left-right, similar to where Gawker is. So this isn't going to be too much of a stretch. They also have a little bit more flexibility for some, how do I say this? Some of the themes that are there are going to be a little bit more in common with them. So that's going to be very interesting. In the same vein of news and technology, newspapers that have gone with paywalls are struggling. They're having some problems. And this is one of those things that even though we see some paywalls showing up here and there, about 70 different paywalls dropped off just in May alone. That's according to some folks over at USC, the University of Southern California, that is located in the Los Angeles area, and they are really going to be tracking this. And I think this is an interesting approach because of the fact that, yes, we had thought that news media was going to go in that direction. That was how they were going to get their money. But I know personally myself, if I go to some place which has a paywall, I move on. I just change gears, change directions. I can usually find whatever news story it is I want through an alternate method, a different media outlet. So why bother? So there you go with that. Also, let's talk about one of the other items in the news, or it's more of reporting onto the news. This was normally I would not follow anything like this. I wouldn't cover it. I wouldn't cover this at least here on Computer Talk Radio, except for the fact that the coverage on the evening news, the nightly news, whether it's CBS, NBC, or ABC, the coverage of the United States economy versus Pokemon. Yes, in July, CBS spent 293 minutes talking about the state of the economy versus 244 minutes on Pokemon Go. Okay, that gives a lot of benefit to Pokemon Go. I mean, 244 minutes versus 293. Okay, so that's I don't know. When you hear about NBC, who spent even more time, 278 minutes on Pokemon Go. That's almost as much as CBS spent on the economy. Almost. But, of course, NBC, with all of the different news things that they've got, they figured that they would spend at least a little bit of time on the economy. Yeah, 40 minutes. Yeah, not 240 minutes, 40 minutes. That's even better than ABC, who spent 5 minutes versus 209 minutes on Pokemon Go. What is this world coming to? We're more concerned about imaginary little beings that are through augmented reality than we are about if our paychecks are going to bounce. Yeah. Google has had another self-driving car that got involved in, yes, an accident. Although it wasn't their fault. It was actually rear-ended by another car, and this is an ongoing thing. And we're going to be hearing more and more of these, and yet again, we'll probably be hearing less and less about them as it just becomes more of a standard, yeah, and so whatever. A London woman, basically, as far as Scotland Yard knows, Scotland Yard got involved because they're investigating this particular car crash. And apparently, it may be drone-related. Not like military drones. I'm talking about, yes, the standard, $1,000, $2,000 drone. And, yeah, it was a complete total accident. So they're studying that up, and I'm waiting to find out more details, but it's been kind of a struggle. Uber is going to start doing self-driving cars themselves. They are custom Volvos that are supervised by humans in the driver's seat, but in Pittsburgh, they've gotten the green light. No pun intended. And they are now doing the self-driving cars, the autonomous cars. And this is going to be a very interesting thing to watch. Is this sort of a portion of the future? A matter of, yes, you're going to hail a cab and you're going to find out that, nobody's there. It reminds me of, I think it was Johnny Cab. I think that was the name of it in the movie Total Recall. So I think that it's something that's going to be coming at us no matter who provides it. I think we're going to be changing our experience about how we get from point A to point B. How long ago was it when we were thinking that self-driving cars were a far distant future, very far, very distant. I'm thinking the movie Minority Report. I think that when was that? That was early 2000s. So let's call it just 10 years ago. If we said self-driving cars were a reality, or would be a reality in 10 years, back then, I don't think anybody would have even expected it. Of course, who would have expected that we'd all have smartphones? We would all have access to the internet 10 years ago. Who would have thought that we would have had full access to everything on the internet via a smartphone? Wow. The world has changed, hasn't it? Josh Bernstein's joining me next, and it's going to be all, not all, well, yeah, tech and politics coming up next here on Computer Talk Radio.
Let me tell you about The Radio Factory, an exciting new venue for talk radio. It's the internet, the wave of the present. My name is Benjamin Rockwell, and I'm the host of a syndicated radio program, Computer Talk Radio, so I know the internet is here and now. Many of the hosts at theradiofactory.com have their own podcasts or radio shows across the country, but many people like the comfort of listening to their own special radio show at a specific time and day, much like we watch live television. The internet, as you're probably aware, is a powerful tool that allows the Radio Factory to deliver unique programming with far more variety than the windbags who are simply about contriving up viewpoints to get you riled up. Additionally, you'll find that many of the programs are shorter, giving more information in less time. Stick with theradiofactory.com and see how it evolves to keep you entertained, interested, informed, and above all, intelligent. After all, the Radio Factory motto is building your intelligence one talk show at a time. theradiofactory.com.
The website, computertalkradio.com, computertalkradio.com. There is so much in regards to everything that we're hearing in regards to this election. And I want to make it clear. We're going to talk about this as a fact that there are tech sides to this topic. And one of the people that I have on a regular basis who really knows his stuff in regards to how this whole political thing is going is Josh Bernstein. He's with AMAC, the Association of Mature Adult Citizens. Did I get that right?
Mature American citizens.
Mature American citizens.
Mature for the most part. So
yeah. So, this is one of those. This has been actually a crazy season so far, and something came out. And I wanted to ask you about this. I heard that social media is giving people a new idea as far as where this race is going. What can you say to that?
Well, what I can say is do not believe the polls. When Donald Trump was up in the actual polls, CNN, Rasmussen, some of these others, although Rasmussen is very, very reputable, but some of these other outliers, SurveyMonkey, and some of these others, when he was up 10 to 12 points right after the convention, Hillary Clinton's campaign panicked, and they called in the media and they said, do something about this. And do something they did. They actually recalibrated how they asked people questions. They made sure and oversampled Democrats over Republicans to get the type of results that they were looking for. Now they're running around saying that Donald Trump's campaign is imploding, that he himself may even take himself out of the race. Folks, he is winning. He is defeating Hillary Clinton. Look, when you can get 15,000 people on a Wednesday afternoon in the middle of Maine, you know you're doing something right. When Hillary Clinton had less than 100 people at an event in Ohio, of all places.
Wait. Ohio's a battleground state, isn't it?
It is.
Now, Maine is not a battleground state,
right,
if I'm not mistaken.
It's not.
Okay, all right. Just double-checking there.
But what I'm saying is, if he's in a state like Maine, that's not even a battleground state, and he's still pulling in 12 to 15,000 people midday on a Wednesday.
And that's a blue state too, right?
And it's, for the most part, it's been a blue state. There's a tinge of red in it, but who knows? Now it may actually go red. But yes, it's more of an independent-based state, similar to New Hampshire.
Okay, all right. So I mean, that says something right there. And I want to look. One of the things that goes into my mind, I look back to 1980. I don't know how old you are, Josh, but
41.
So yeah, you were a bit young then. I'm a few years older. I remember that going up into the election, everybody thought Jimmy Carter was going to get reelected, and then out of nowhere, as a matter of fact, there's this kind of apocryphal story that says that they went to Jimmy Carter Tuesday morning, election day, and they said, "We got bad news for you. The polls are all wrong. You're going to lose."
Right.
And I don't know if that's a real story. Again, I labeled that as apocryphal. What do you think the chances are of something like that this time around? A matter of them going to Hillary and saying, "Oops, we were wrong"?
Right. Well, look, I think that the media, is trying to suppress Donald Trump's support. They want to show polling that shows him not winning to deflate the excitement, if you will, of the Trump phenomenon, the Trump supporters, and therefore keep people away from the polls so that she does have a chance to win. To be honest with you, for my assessment, I'm not so much worried about Hillary Clinton as I am Gary Johnson or Jill Stein. I would hate to see another 1992 Ross Perot 2.0 happen here. I don't believe that the numbers are going to be that strong for them, but when you think about it, and you look at some of the results that happened in 2012, for instance, Barack Obama won by a little over 3.5 million total votes, and Gary Johnson, who ran in 2012, garnered 0.99% of the total vote, but it was still 1.2 million votes. So he's obviously polling better than he was in 2012 and 2016. And, in these, smaller margin states, in these swing states, he could make a difference. Now, I'm also seeing the fact that the the Bernie Sanders supporters are not 100% on board with Hillary Clinton. They saw what happened with the WikiLeaks. They saw that their candidate that they wanted did not have even a prayer of a chance, as the whole thing was rigged. So again, it validates Trump's wording when he runs around and says that everything is rigged. Well, obviously we know from the WikiLeaks that it was in fact and indeed rigged. So I think that a lot of those Bernie Sanders supporters are going to split three ways. I think you're going to get a lot of them that are going to vote for Jill Stein. I think you're going to get a lot of them that are going to vote for Trump, and you're probably going to get some that are even going to vote for Gary Johnson.
Well, that's a kind of interesting. I'm going to, before I switch you off in a different direction, it's kind of interesting. My son looked at Gary Johnson, but then he looked at Bill Weld. And the Bill Weld thing was what sold him on not going with Gary Johnson. He's like, okay, Gary Johnson's platform, great. Bill Weld's whole concept of banning guns and Obamacare is great, and I can't remember all of the different things. My son went down through like a dozen different things. He's like, this isn't a libertarian. This sounds like Bernie Sanders with a different coat. But one of the things that you had that you and I had talked about just before going on air, there's an interesting direction in social media. There's a completely different story in regards to in regards to what people are doing on social media. For instance, what was it? The Facebook. What do we have there?
Absolutely. And we can go through that. I just want to touch on one thing.
Sure.
You mentioned something about libertarianism.
Yes.
And the libertarian candidate. The libertarian candidate is Donald Trump. As a matter of fact, when he is elected, he will be the first Republican to win election that is basically a libertarian and or a Jeffersonian Democrat, a conservative, old-school Jeffersonian Democrat. So for the libertarians out there and the never-Trumpers, if you want a libertarian, Donald Trump is your choice. I mean, protectionist trade policies, doesn't want to police the rest of the world. He's got a lot of libertarian-based principles. But going back to social media, which certainly is your forte, if you look at some of the numbers that have been reported, for instance, on Facebook, and I'm going to go through just a few of them, but on Facebook, Trump has 10,174,358 likes, and Hillary Clinton has half of that, 5,385,959.
Wow. That's
big
telling.
Difference. I mean, you're talking double. Now, when there's live streaming Trump videos, you're looking at 135,000 likes and 18,000 shares and 1.5 million views. When Clinton live streams something, it's got 11,000 likes, barely any shares, and only 321,000 views.
Whoa. That just, I mean, this is really just an amazing set of numbers. When you consider how much the last two elections were decided by something like Facebook and Twitter and all of these different e-venues, all of these different social media outlets really controlled what we wound up with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, the media is in the tank. They are totally against Donald Trump. They do not want to see anything change. They're used to the status quo, and they want to keep the status quo.
Josh, hold up just a second. Yeah. We've got a break we got to get to, but when we get back, I know that there's more numbers out there that are just going to make your head swim. You're listening to Computer Talk Radio. We'll be back in just a moment. I'm constantly looking for the right place to get computer hardware. It's not easy, as there are so many stores that have gone out of business, so many shady characters online, or they're simply not capable of handling diverse needs. In 1979, two guys got together and built a computer company that could serve your nerdy needs. Micro Center. The wide range of products at Micro Center includes even the latest of Raspberry Pi, Arduino, and other hobbyist-level computers. They also have drones. They've got them in all price categories, from toys to, oh boy. Look, you're looking for console gaming, home automation. Micro Center's got that. Hardware, software, accessories, or, well, whatever. It doesn't matter. From Apple to Zyxel, Micro Center has what you're looking for. 25 stores across the nation, or you can check them out online at microcenter.com. That's microcenter.com. The phone number, 888-NERD, 888, that's 888-6373-888. If you have computer questions, I'm putting this out there. I don't want to do a whole lot of discussions of politics over the phone. I'm really a computer nerd, but some of these different things that come down the road at me in regards to some of these numbers just amaze me. Social media was what decided the last two elections. I think it's going to decide this next election, and there are a number of different venues. Do you have any numbers from, let's say, Twitter or YouTube?
I do. Trump, on Twitter is 10.6 million followers. Hillary has 8.1, so an advantage, but not a huge advantage.
Now, I seem to recall there's an interesting thing there. Didn't about a few years ago, they said that like half of Obama's numbers were fake. Yeah. What about, did anybody ever do anything in regards to Hillary?
I don't know, but I'm assuming, if you go with the 20 to 25% rule, that more than likely there are that many fake followers. And again, that could be also on Donald Trump, too. Who knows?
Oh, yeah.
But Trump has 30% more Twitter followers and they translate into real votes when you think about it.
Sure.
So 70% of his followers are real supporters, and 90% of those real followers have a voting history. So that's something else that you need to think about. And then there's YouTube. You know, the average 30,000 live viewers per stream. Right Side Broadcasting does a lot of his videos when he's out on the campaign trail in different areas of the country. And anytime I'm looking at one of those videos, there's anywhere between 10 and 40 or 50,000 people watching.
Wow.
Clinton averages 500 live viewers.
Wait. Hold on. That sounds something like what you were saying at the very beginning here of the last segment, where they showed up and she was in Ohio and she had like 100 or so, and he was in Maine and he had 15,000 people. That is very telling. That is, wow, explosive is what I'd call that. Wow.
It truly is. And I guess it reminds me of that movie in the 90s, you know, she's just not into you. Just not that into you. Because apparently the excitement level is certainly not for Hillary Clinton. And obviously looking at her record, why should it be?
Sure, yeah. It is one of those things where you're right. It's one of those things where we don't get into politics much here on Computer Talk Radio. It's like, you
only
know,
when I'm on.
Net neutrality and stuff like that, you know, where we have to be drawn in. But I'm looking at this and I keep seeing all kinds of different crazy things coming down the road with her. She's dodging all kinds of things, getting free passes on WikiLeaks and the emails and everything else. Debbie Wasserman Schultz has basically turned into persona non grata amongst the the party there, and that just and that's based off of just a couple of emails that she was involved in.
Right. Not only that, but the Taco Bowl engagement email, which was obviously very offensive to Hispanics. There was another one against Bernie Sanders and him being Jewish. So, yeah, you know, look, all those WikiLeaks that have come out have really fractured the Democrat Party, and there are many, many people that are not going to vote for Hillary Clinton based on that, you know, one thing alone. But keeping on to the computer and the social media, I know that we're running a little long on the time here. Let's look at Reddit. This is absolutely mind-boggling. On Reddit, which again is more of a liberal site, Trump has 197,696 subscribers. Hillary has 24,429 subscribers. But get this, Hillary for Prison has 55,228 subscribers. Okay? Hillary for Prison has double what Hillary regular on Reddit has, and Trump has 197,000. So if you take the 197 plus the 55, do the math, folks. He's got 250,000 subscribers on Reddit to her 24,000.
Wow. So, she's got 10% in what should be friendly territory for her.
Right.
Wow. That, you know, this is shades of the last couple of years, because I remember the social media was just a buzz for Obama. It was just wild. Everywhere you turned on social media, everybody was. I mean, we had what was I can't remember the name of the YouTube star that she was Obama Girl or something like. I don't remember. But she became a superstar off of just being pro-Obama. Yeah, and a number of people like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there were sculptors. There was all kinds of people. I mean, you know, there was people that thought this guy was going to part the seas, and you know they won't have to put gas in their car. I mean, it was cult-like, to be honest with you. And some people might even say, well, the Trump supporters are cult-like, but they're not. They're patriots. They're angry. They're full of vitriol. They're full of angst. They're full of fear because they understand that America can be much better than what it is, and they are not happy with the direction this country has gone in the last 8 years, and the last thing they want to do is take a replica of Barack Obama and put that person in office for the next 4 to 8 years. I just don't see it happening. I think this is an election, as I've said many times before to other people, this is an election of who do you hate the least. And if it boils down to that, I think the advantage goes to Donald Trump, because Hillary has already made that bed and lied in it. She cannot get away from her negative numbers. Trump, on the other hand, has an opportunity and a chance to build up his positives and lower his negatives.
Definitely. Hey, we've only got 30 seconds here. Give out information in regards to AMAC, if you would, please.
AMAC is the conservative alternative to groups out there like AARP, www.amac.us, the Association of Mature American Citizens. I'm their national spokesman.
This is Benjamin Rockwell, and you're listening to Computer Talk Radio. I will be back with more. Well, we're going to get more nerdy. We're going to get back into regular computer stuff next here on Computer Talk Radio.
Hi, this is Benjamin Rockwell. Most of us use digital cameras nowadays, but what do we do with those old pictures and slides in the back of the closet? Well, let me tell you about Legacy Digital Productions. They specialize in taking your old memories on film, videotape, and slides and digitizing them to DVDs. If you have boxes of old slides, then you know they fade more and more each year. Let Legacy Digital scan them for you and stop the aging process dead in its tracks. You'll get beautiful 10-megapixel digital files, color-corrected and ready for printing. All this is done faster and cheaper than buying a film scanner and doing it yourself. Your files are then burned onto gold archival DVD discs where they will last for generations. Call right now, mention my name, Benjamin Rockwell, and receive a 30% discount on your order. Call toll-free 1-866-2-LEGACY. That's 1-866-2-LEGACY. And tell them Benjamin sent you. Your memories are priceless, so call 866-2-LEGACY now.
Keith M. Sedor is a Mac. Benjamin Rockwell is a PC. I think a fanboy fight is about to start.
The website, computertalkradio.com, computertalkradio.com. Keith M. Sedor joins me now, and Keith is, okay, we know that you are mymacguru.com and Facebook and all that. But one of the things that I kind of think about, first and foremost, when I'm thinking about podcasting, is, of course, Apple, because of the iPod, because of where this all came from. So I figured, rather than getting Apple-centric, let's just talk about the concept of podcasts in themselves.
Well, I will tell you, I have to explain the concept of podcasting to a lot of lay people, because when I tell people that, hey, I do a radio show every week, I do a segment, I'm the Apple and Mac pundit for a nationally syndicated radio show, they get that. Nationally syndicated, it's on many different radio stations nationwide. And then when I say it's also available as a podcast for people that are not in those particular radio markets, sometimes they kind of nod because they've heard the term podcast.
Yes.
Other times I get that glazed over deer in headlights look, like they don't know what I'm talking about.
Uh-huh.
Here, all kidding aside, here is a really good description of podcasting for the layperson. Everybody remembers Casey Kasem's American Top 40.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Unless they're like under the age of like 35. 30?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Because now with the ubiquity of everything on the web, people were not necessarily looking for content on the radio today. But what I explained to them, I said, do you remember Casey Kasem's American Top 40? And they all very vigorously shake their heads yes, because half the people who are giving me that deer in headlights look are people who are in their 50s or 60s or older.
Sure.
And I say, if you think about what American Top 40 was, it was a pre-recorded radio show recorded in Hollywood, and then they sent that show out to all of the different radio stations all over the country, and they would play it on their timetable, on their schedule when they decided they wanted to run the show. Podcasts are just like American Top 40. They are a pre-recorded radio show, but this time you, the listener, decide exactly when you're going to play it and when you're going to listen to it. And unlike a show that you have to tune into a specific radio station for, when you go into an app like Apple's Podcasts that serves podcasts, if there's a topic you can think of, it could be Apple, it could be gardening, it could be bird watching, it could be motivational speaking, it could be Christian topics, it could be anything. If there is an interest, somebody is doing a radio show, aka a podcast on that topic.
Yeah.
And there's probably multiple shows by multiple broadcasters or podcasters on these topics.
So let's do something real quick right now. For everybody who has an iPhone, let's walk them through adding in the Computer Talk Radio podcast.
Well, there's one thing we need to do before we do that, Benjamin.
Okay.
We actually need to make sure they've already downloaded Apple's Podcasts app on their iPhone or iPad.
Oh, really? I thought that was one of those native apps.
It's one of the free apps, but it's not always automatically pre-installed.
Okay.
So if you go into the App Store on your iOS device and search for podcasts, you'll find Apple Podcasts, and it's a cool pinkish purpley looking icon. Download the Podcasts app first. Then once you have the Podcast app installed, all you need to do is search for Computer Talk Radio. And when you search for Computer Talk Radio, you're going to find two primary listings. You're going to find one that says Computer Talk Radio with the nerd Benjamin Rockwell. It should actually say the cast of nerds with Benjamin and Keith and Steve and everybody else. But anyway.
All right.
You'll see Computer Talk Radio with the nerd Benjamin Rockwell, and then you'll also see Computer Talk Radio Nerdcast. And that's the second show that Benjamin and I do. We talk about all kinds of nerdy topics like Star Trek, Star Wars, Back to the Future, nerdy foods, and all sorts of fun nerd topics. And if you select one of these, you will then have the opportunity to subscribe to one or both of these shows. Now, you'll notice at the top of the listings, it will show you individual shows. A little bit further down, it'll actually show you the master feed for the shows themselves. Go to the master feed, tap on Computer Talk Radio with Benjamin Rockwell, and then you'll see a little subscribe button. Then back out of that, and then tap on the Nerdcast. And again, that's the Computer Talk Radio Nerdcast. Benjamin and I discovered the hard way that there are actually many shows out there called the Nerdcast.
712. Oh, wait, no, 713. No, 714. I got
now
784. Yeah, this is just climbing as I watch.
I always kind of had this idea that a great title for our show would have been East Coast Geek meets West Coast Nerd, but it's just too wordy of a title. So we're leaving it as the Computer Talk Radio Nerdcast for now until we come up with something better.
Real quick, we've got about 30 seconds. Other than Computer Talk Radio, what's the podcast that comes to mind most right now that you would say somebody should listen to?
Oh, absolutely, without a doubt. If you're listening to this segment, you are a fan of all things Apple like I am, and you want to listen to Mac OS Ken with Ken Ray. And Ken does this daily podcast. It's about 15, 20 minutes long, and it is an amazing look at Apple. In fact, I call Ken Ray the Dennis Miller of Mac and Apple podcasting. And if you know about Dennis Miller's acerbic wit, you will love and get Ken Ray.
Very cool. This is Benjamin Rockwell.
And I'm Keith M. Sedor.
You're listening to Computer Talk Radio. I'll be back in just a moment. Years ago, I found a web hosting company that fit my needs as a computer nerd, as a radio show host, and just a normal person. Recently, though, it was clear to me that it was time to upgrade. But I had a choice between my old plan and the new one at 7 times the cost. It was that awkward point where I could choose between a sip of water or being dunked in a pool. I searched around, comparing the many options for someone like me. After searching around for 3 weeks, there it was, SiteGround. In proper fashion, I tested their customer service, their knowledge, and their willingness to do things the right way. The SiteGround salesman made sure that I didn't overbuy and get a 50-gallon bucket when a 32-ounce soda would do. These guys know WordPress, Joomla, and regular standard websites. These guys at SiteGround are awesome. SiteGround.com. Site, S-I-T-E, ground.com. The world has changed as far as SD cards and micro SD cards. This is one of those situations where we have not heard a whole lot in regards to this concept over the course of the last, few years. But now it's becoming important as we start dealing with various video items, various different issues that are being presented to us. And a lot of people may not be aware of this. They may be dealing with their GoPro and they find out, okay, we've got this special specification or something to deal with our video cards and whatnot, the little chips that we're sticking in them, your SD cards, your micro SD cards. So I wanted to spend just a few minutes here talking about this concept. In the past, we had speed classes, and for the most part, we were utilizing these chips to put photographs on them. So we had a speed class 2, 4, 6, or 10, and these different classes covered how fast we could move data from the sensor, from the picture we took, over to the card. Well, now we're starting to see, we saw some new classes pop up a little while back. UHS. So UHS 1 and UHS 3 have now given way to a brand new video speed class. Okay, so video speed class is now V6, V10. This is so V10 and the class 1, which is a C, or not class 1, class 10, or UHS 1. So V10, U1, speed class 10. They're all synonymous. They're all doing 10 megabytes per second. Not megabits, 10 megabytes per second. That's their capability. Now, we have V30, 30 megabytes per second. Sorry, I slipped there. Megabit is a frequent term in the internet world. Now we're moving into megabytes. 30 megabytes per second for a UHS 3 or a V30. There is no class 30, SD class 30. It just doesn't exist. Now, V60, V90. V60 is what you're going to need if you have 4K video. V90 is what you're going to need if you have 8K video. We're talking about a lot of data. We're talking about moving massive amounts of data over to those cards. They're getting larger. They're also getting a lot cheaper. You can pick up these cards now for very cheap, and they'll handle a lot better speeds than you might ever have imagined before. The nice thing is, for the most part, you don't have to worry about it too much. Just understand that if you buy a 4K video camcorder or anything like that, you will need to get special cards, and especially if you start going towards the 8K direction and getting one of those really, really cool high-end cameras. This is Benjamin Rockwell, and you're listening to Computer Talk Radio.
Let me tell you about The Radio Factory, an exciting new venue for talk radio. It's the internet, the wave of the present. My name is Benjamin Rockwell, and I'm the host of a syndicated radio program, Computer Talk Radio, so I know the internet is here and now. Many of the hosts at theradiofactory.com have their own podcasts or radio shows across the country, but many people like the comfort of listening to their own special radio show at a specific time and day, much like we watch live television. The internet, as you're probably aware, is a powerful tool that allows the Radio Factory to deliver unique programming with far more variety than the windbags who are simply about contriving up viewpoints to get you riled up. Additionally, you'll find that many of the programs are shorter, giving more information in less time. Stick with theRadioFactory.com and see how it evolves to keep you entertained, interested, informed, and above all, intelligent. After all, the Radio Factory motto is building your intelligence one talk show at a time. TheRadioFactory.com.
Can't find out what to buy at the computer store? Benjamin Rockwell's got the answer, helping you make sense of technology. Here's Benjamin Rockwell with Computer Talk Radio.
The website, computertalkradio.com, computertalkradio.com. The phone number, 888-NERD, 888, that's 888-6373-888. I am a computer nerd, and so much of what I talk about here is how technology is benefiting us, how technology is changing us, and sometimes I have to talk about some of the rough and tumble stuff that we're having to deal with the internet, with how we deal with technology that is making us into worse people. And I have a feeling that over the course of the next couple of months, we're going to be discussing this more and more and more and more. Why? Because of various things that are going on in the world in regards to politics, in regards to, the Olympics and everything else. We're all just, we're becoming a meaner set of people, I guess. Have no fear. I'm not going to spend the whole hour on this. I am going to have, coming up next, we're going to talk to Marty Winston, and following that, Steve Keske is going to join me. So we've got the 40-year house, and I think Steve's got some ideas on some nice, neat new tech that isn't going to really work out for us. It just won't be a commercial success. So what brings me towards talking about this topic, this idea that we have gone crazy with everything we're doing in tech? Facebook has, to me, in my observations with all of my friends, has turned into one of the nastiest locations of my day. I normally deal with really nice, calm people. There's a couple of people that, will rub me the wrong way here or there throughout my travels, throughout my day, my week, my whatever. But nothing like what has happened in the span of the last few months on Facebook. I have seen some just distinct vitriol going back and forth over who should be president, who shouldn't be president, various lies about both sides of the fence. Look, I'm not going to point fingers through this section at either side. I'm not going to talk about who I would prefer to have in the White House. I'm going to talk about how we, as people, need to dial it back. We need to stop trolling. And I will discuss trolling next. We need to stop, I think, completely with politics that have any kind of negative vibe to them. Just think about it. How many of you like dirty politics? Those dirty political ads that go, I don't know. I'm thinking of this one ad that was, who do you want in the White House? And it was, there was this mushroom cloud in the background. And that was kind of kind of harsh back then. And I think we're way beyond that now. I think we need to dial it back and start talking about the benefits of the candidate we like. I think it would behoove us all if that's all we focused on. If we stopped with all of the never Hillary, never Clinton, the never Trump, the never Johnson. I couldn't believe this. That was voiced on the air. Never Gary Johnson. And that was on a local radio show that I was listening to where I live, and I was just shocked that they would do that. Okay, yeah, maybe not so shocked because they do go into political directions. I was just amazed, though, that we're approaching all of this as never this person, never that person, never anybody. Well, no, let's talk about the benefits of voting for a particular candidate. This idea of never this person. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we're going down the road of this issue of choosing the lesser of two evils, lesser of three evils, lesser of, I don't know how many candidates are on the ballot in your neck of the woods. In my neck of the woods, I don't even know how many. I'm guessing it's probably going to be just like normal. It's going to be 15 different candidates. California has so many candidates up there, it's absolutely ridiculous. How many of them actually get more than about, more votes than their family members and a few friends? I don't know. But I will tell you that I've seen people unfriending each other. I've seen people screaming and yelling, throwing vitriol around in Facebook posts. I've also seen some very disingenuous people. It's very telling to watch some people. I have somebody who I like a lot. I think they're a wonderful person, and they particularly chose a direction. They said, I'm going to post up stuff on both sides. I'm going to just point out whatever comes along, and I'm still undecided. Everything they've posted has not only been highly one-sided, but it's been highly vitriolic. It's been highly obnoxious because some of the stuff has been just absolutely uneducated attacks on one of the candidates. Just one. And they said, I want to remain open. And yet they don't want to discuss anything, then they just keep posting things. We all need to just dial it back. There's enough vitriol in this campaign on its own. This concept here, everybody's talking about this, that, or the other thing. I don't care. We need to stop with any of these political posts that are breaking anybody down, that are tearing anybody down. Additionally, if you're responding, be a builder, not a destroyer. I will tell you, though, that a lot of networks, various friend networks, are falling apart. I know someone who made a matter of just a few posts and then got attacked so viciously on that particular topic that they lost over half of their friends. People went out and out, just unfriended. Not just unlistened to him, unfriended. And this isn't good. This is something that we all need to take a breath and use civilized tones. We need to think about mismanners. We need to stick with, rather than opinion statements, ask nice, simple questions to help understand your friends. This is all going to be over in just a matter of a few more months. In November, We hope. I'm hoping we don't wind up with another series of just months and months where it's just drawn out. But in November, God willing, your friends, your friendship, your friends, all of your different acquaintances that you deal with are going to continue with you. We hope. It all depends on how you react. It all depends on how you behave between now and then. I guess the biggest thing I could say, if I were going to underscore this entire concept, if I were going to go in any particular direction, I would say do not be like anybody who's running for office. Do not be like any of the modern politicians. Instead, think about that golden rule. Think about do unto others as you would have them do unto you. You take the first effort. You take that first step. You take the chance to be friendly, to be positive, to be supportive, both of your candidate, but also of your friends' feelings. That's what I'm asking of you here on Computer Talk Radio.
Let me tell you about the Radio Factory, an exciting new venue for talk radio. It's the internet, the wave of the present. My name is Benjamin Rockwell, and I'm the host of a syndicated radio program, Computer Talk Radio. So I know the internet is here and now. Many of the hosts at theradiofactory.com have their own podcasts or radio shows across the country, but many people like the comfort of listening to their own special radio show at a specific time and day, much like we watch live television. The internet, as you're probably aware, is a powerful tool that allows the Radio Factory to deliver unique programming with far more variety than the windbags who are simply about contriving up viewpoints to get you riled up. Additionally, you'll find that many of the programs are shorter, giving more information in less time. Stick with theradiofactory.com and see how it evolves to keep you entertained, interested, informed, and above all, intelligent. After all, the Radio Factory motto is building your intelligence one talk show at a time. theradiofactory.com.
The website is computertalkradio.com, computertalkradio.com. Now, I promised that I would talk about the concept of trolling and trolls because this is a far deeper issue than just a matter of people meaning well. We can actually turn into that concept of a troll very easily. We can move in that direction without intending to move in that direction, but a troll is someone who does it intentionally. It's basically a concept of posting a deliberately provocative message wherever you're posting, with the intention of causing maximum disruption and argument. I want you to think about this. That concept of you're starting an argument, attacking other people, and you just have no substance. You have no relevance. You have nothing there. Now that is the concept of a troll, and that is something that we accidentally wind up doing at times. I found out once, I was in one particular conversation, somebody accused me of being a troll. I was delivered the banhammer on a particular conversation, just that one conversation on that particular forum, but it gave me an idea of what I was saying. I was not actually being intentionally troll-like. However, somebody took deep offense to what I said. And I stood by what I said in that message line. And it was one of those things where, look, I was trying to be nice. I disagreed with their approach, and And they went screaming and yelling. And look, this is one of those things that we have to be careful. The idea of trolls has been around for a while. The idea of trolls just being mean has been around for a while. Yes, we can accidentally be mean. And then again, sometimes some of these things are unintentional. But what happened was that trolls have moved to the forefront. It's now actually one of those situations where some people can really get somewhere just by being a troll. There is a particular Congressman Steve Smith. He is a Tea Party Republican. He represents Georgia's 15th district. And he is just out there. He has really done a number of different things. He's lured all kinds of different people into arguments. And the interesting thing behind that is that there is no 15th district in Georgia. This Steve Smith doesn't even exist. He is just absolutely out there. He's over the top, and he's luring in these various liberals. I told you he's a Tea Party Republican. He's luring in various Democrats, various left-leaning people, and just thrashing them. The funny thing is, normally a troll would be a liberal posing as a Republican. Think Stephen Colbert. This is a situation where he's actually a Republican, and he's very mad at the Republican Party themselves. But there's not a chance that he's going to go for the Democrat Party. So it was one of those things where he started off, and he actually had a problem in his marriage. It fell apart, and then his best friend made the ultimate wrong decision. That's a euphemism there for he's no longer with us. And this really wrecked him. It just gave him headaches and whatnot, and he started just blathering away on the internet. He now has 1.5 million views of his tweets every month. He has a huge audience out there. And this is feeding that entire concept. It's much like we have with these comedians out there, out on the circuit, and they just start bashing away at whatever that gets them a laugh. Except not all of this is funny. Not all of this is actually anything innocuous. And that's because, this is all starting to boil over. We're starting to see different things in regards to trolls. They are starting to break down boundaries. They are starting to turn anarchistic. All of this concept of the phone numbers being given out for various people in Congress or wherever else. That's a terminology, or there's a term rather called doxing. It's sending out all of the documentation of whoever a particular person is. And this is starting to get out of hand. No, not starting. In my personal opinion, it's out of hand already. It's already just out of control. Hence, what I was saying in the last segment, we need to dial it back. We need to be careful, because we are now going through a devolution, not an evolution or evolution, a devolvement. Everything's devolving in regards to our manners. We have seen people recently starting to put up different tweets just to see if they can, quote, get away with something somebody else tweeted. I know just a matter of a couple of weeks ago, a white woman tweeted something that a black woman had tweeted, just changing things around, and that particular black woman had not been banned, and yet that white woman was banned. It's also gone in the other direction. It's also gone in very different directions all over the place. There's this guy by the name of Milo Yiannopoulos. I don't remember his how to pronounce his last name. He's an editor over at Breitbart and stuff like that, and he's actually kind of an interesting guy, but he's actually been banned from Twitter in amongst all of this stuff that's been going on. Specifically banned for all of this just nightmare that's just evolving. Look, we need to stop. We all need to just take a step back. It's easy to just poke fun at people. It's easy for us to say, hey, this is how I'm feeling good. I'm going to make fun of this particular person. I'm going to post something just to get a rise out of them. I'm going to do something just to upset them. By my even saying this, I admit that I am subject right now. I am subject to somebody coming on out and trolling me. Yeah, I hope that I will not fall prey to that trolling, but unfortunately, so many of us do fall prey to that trolling. Somebody says something that just burns us up so much, something that just gets our blood pressure boiling, and we have to respond, and we lash back. And the person on the other side is just laughing. We all know people like that. I know a few people in my family like that. That's how they get their thrills. And that's not good. That's not good for anybody. Think about it. Consider taking the proper road and being nice to people. Marty Winston's coming up next here on Computer Talk Radio. I'm constantly looking for the right place to get the things that are on my nerd wish list. It's not easy. There are so many stores that have gone out of business. There are so many shady characters online, or so many of them are just simply not capable of handling my needs in a one-stop shop. In 1979, two guys got together and built the brick-and-mortar company that could serve your tech needs. Of course, today, they've got an online presence, and it's called MicroCenter. They've got tablets, iPad, yes, but also Android and Windows and all the accessories, too. They've got laptops, desktops, all-in-ones, Windows or Apple, of course, all covered here. Motherboards and processors, and okay, all right, who are we kidding? It's really everything to build your own PC. Keyboards, mice, surge protectors, software, tools, and thumb drives. Enough. Look, from Apple to Zyxel, MicroCenter has what you're looking for. 25 stores across the nation, or you can check them out online at microcenter.com. That's microcenter.com. The phone number, 888-NERD, 888. That's 888-6373-888. You know, I want you to go ahead and give me a call. If you've got any ideas in regards to what you would put into a smart house that we haven't covered yet, let me know. We're, of course, talking about Marty Winston and the 40-year house project, and I'll mention the website up front, 40yearhouse.com. There's just so much information up there, and it keeps growing and growing and growing because Marty's working on an autonomous house. And Marty, there's just everything that just keeps coming to mind on all of this. One of the things that I know you're in the North Carolina area, and I've been down, I drove through the South a few years back, and all the way through there was a lot of humidity. Are you doing anything in regards to resolving that for inside the house? I don't even know. Is that a normal thing for people to deal with inside the house?
actually, we had a problem with the air conditioner in the place we're renting while we build. And I was chatting with the HVAC repair guy, and we're in South Carolina, which is even more south than North Carolina.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And he said, the biggest mistake people make is, they don't put a separate dehumidifier in the crawl space, so they get a lot of moisture down there, and that hurts everything.
Okay.
So, wait a minute. I said, wait a minute. We're going to have an ICF here. We're dealing with a foundation where even the concrete is covered in foam. He said, it doesn't matter. I've been down there. They get wet. You got to have a dehumidifier down there. So I contacted Honeywell, and I talked to a guy there, and he said, well, yeah, that's a good idea. And he showed me 4 different ways of implementing this, and 3 of them tie into an existing ventilation system and your ductwork and all that, and the 4th one just says, no, we're just for the crawl space. We'll put a vent here to the outside, and here's some vents on the inside. It draws air in, and it takes the humidity out, and it pipes the water out the wall, and that's what it does. So I'm sitting here at my desk, and I see a moving van-sized truck pull up.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, wait a minute. I hope I can lift this.
Okay.
So the driver says, no, it's only a smaller box. And on the skid is a carton the size of a small bathtub.
Okay.
It is a Honeywell True Dry DR90 dehumidifier, which is in and of itself capable of dehumidifying something as big as the entire house and then some. It's got a 2,800 square foot capacity.
Okay.
Well, I did manage to drag it into the house. I'm going to have to move it over to storage while we're getting ready for it at the site. I have to tell you, this thing is amazing. It handles 90 pints of water extraction a day, a little over 11 gallons a day of water pulled out of the air, pumped out the wall, and I dare that crawl space to give me any moisture at all. But this was only one of several add-ons to the HVAC system that came up in just the last 2 weeks. Another one has to do with maintaining a balance of fresh air. Now, I'm a geek.
Yes.
And I'm thinking about this in terms of the ratio of oxygen to carbon dioxide in what we're breathing, because in a tight house, when you're building an energy-efficient house, it tends to be tight.
Yeah.
In a tight house, you're exhaling, you're inhaling, you're converting the oxygen in the air to carbon dioxide, and if it's too shut down, if you're inside for too long a time, if there are too many of you, if it gets to be too small a space because you've closed rooms off, carbon dioxide can creep higher, and that's not terribly good for you.
Yeah.
Well, that was my motivation, but there's another one I'll get to in a second, and it simply is, gee, isn't it nice to have a little fresh air in the house?
Yes.
So this is a fan. Now, we'll have the HVAC system in the attic, and it's in the attic because the attic insulation is under the roof, not on the floor of the attic.
Okay,
and that means we're decoupling the attic from the roof's heat and coupling it to the conditioned space in the main house.
Yes, okay.
Okay, the HVAC goes there, and next to it goes one of these ERVs, and I'm going to get into a definition here. There's 2 things that are confused a lot. ERV for energy recovery ventilator, HRV for heat recovery ventilator, and they work pretty much the same except that an ERV, HRV will not do this, an ERV will remove a lot of the moisture from the incoming air.
Okay.
It has to do with the exchange point, and the ERV takes advantage of the cooler air that's exhausting from the house to help condense some of the water away from the outside air as it comes into the house. So ERV is not creating dehumidifier load to not nearly the extent of an HRV. And we're getting a Brown ERV in here shortly. It should be in, next week.
Okay.
Smaller than a bathtub, I'm sure.
Let's hope so. Yes.
Yeah, and that will give us that constant airflow. And it's not like having another ventilator, where a ventilator is a windstorm when it's blowing from the major HVAC system. This is more like, I don't know, just a little woof of a breeze.
Uh-huh.
But it's enough. It's enough that places don't smell closed off and musty. You don't get that close to a winter house smell.
Yeah, that's something that I think of. There's to me there seems to be like this East Coast smell. And it's you're right. It's got that musty thing. Of course, I'm in Southern California where we don't really have moisture. At any given point in time, half the state is on fire.
Well, that's true, but then you have protection against the fire by the protective layer of smog.
Yes, there is that. That always helps. So between the ERV and the dehumidifier, now wait, now you said HRV too. Sorry,
well, HRV is the alternative to ERV,
and
the HRV is heat removal, heat recovery rather, not energy recovery.
Okay.
So you can exchange air with it just the same, and that part's alike. But the HRV, unlike the ERV, will not reduce the moisture in the outside air.
Okay. All right. Wow, just so much to think about. That's
alphabet soup, yeah.
Yeah. That's Marty Winston, and of course, we're talking about the 40-year house. 40yearhouse.com. I'll be back with more Computer Talk Radio in just a moment.
Hey guys, this is Benny Rockwell. Most of us use video cameras nowadays, but what about those old movie films in the back of your closet? Well, let me tell you about Legacy Digital Productions. They specialize in taking your old memories on film, videotape, and slides and digitizing them to DVDs. Imagine Grandpa's old 8mm and 16mm films that are just sitting in a box getting old and fading away. Legacy Digital will clean and recondition those films, capture them digitally frame by frame, and then produce beautiful DVDs of your precious memories on long-lasting, archive-quality discs. They don't use a projector, and your films can't be damaged in the process, the best available for families like yours. The final results are gorgeous. What better way to preserve those precious memories for future generations? Call right now, mention my name, Benny Rockwell, and receive a 30% discount on your order. Call toll-free 1-866-2-LEGACY. That's 1-866-2-LEGACY. 1-866-253-4229. And tell them Benny sent you. Your memories are priceless. So call 866-2-LEGACY now.
The website, computertalkradio.com, computertalkradio.com. Steve Keske joins me now here on the show. And Steve, I understand that you've got a couple of items, 2-3 items that you've been looking at, you've been watching as far as technology, and you've got an idea that they're not going to make it. They sound good on paper. Or over the radio.
Over the radio.
But they just don't they don't seem like they're going to really work.
They're good ideas that haven't been thoroughly, shall we say, thought out.
Haven't been vetted. Yeah, okay.
Haven't been thought out in the design.
All right,
First one. They come out with this suitcase on wheels with a actual little rod that you can steer with, that you can get on, battery operated, that will actually take you through an airport terminal.
Kind of like a suitcase / wheelchair, but not.
You straddle it, but you're sitting on top of the
suitcase / scooter.
Yeah,
motorized.
Scooter.
Yeah, okay.
Motorized scooter. It's got a battery in it. It's an electric motor, and it scoots down the road. The battery will last about 6 hours, which you really don't need more for if you go to the
6 hours worth of battery to maneuver the airport.
Right.
You can do a lot of skating through the airport in 6 hours. Okay.
Now, the idea of being able to do that, because there's a lot of people out there that have a lot of luggage that are sitting there going through big lines and whatever. But, and here's the big buts on it. Number one, if you've got it motorized and it's on wheels and it has the steering wheel, how much clothes can you really get in it?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm thinking. Okay, we've got a size issue for the wheels. Even if you've got really small wheels, you're still going to have the motors. You're still going to have the batteries. You're going to still have to have whatever is there for the steering mechanism. So that's all going to add weight as well. Space and weight gone. All right. What's the next item?
The next one that I really came up with. Tell me, how are you going to get it through TSA?
The TSA will.
You can't put it on there.
They are very smart people. They will instantly understand exactly why you have that, and they'll say, "Oh, we'll just wave that on through."
Except that there's a big problem with that.
It has to go through the X-ray.
Well, no, because you got a battery in it, right?
Yeah. Oh.
So yeah, you can X-ray it, but you can't put it on whole luggage. You got to put it on the aircraft in the cabin, because otherwise you're violating FAA.
So you can't check that as luggage because the battery's in it? Okay, and of course, you're right. That means it definitely has to go through TSA, and okay, so now we've got a size issue because this now is even smaller. It's the size of a carry-on.
That's it.
And at that point, carry-on sizes are always changing anyways. What used to be a suitable size for a carry-on, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, has changed, and now you've got a little bit more length, but it has to be skinnier or whatever.
That's it. And the ones that I have seen are not going to go on carry-on.
Oh man! All right, so now
there's one last item on this.
Okay.
That I want to bring up. Is the price.
I'm guessing it's
$900 each.
I'm guessing it's even more than I expected. Wow.
Now
I was going to say $600 or $700.
Would you put out $900 just to be able to ride your suitcase?
No.
I don't think it's going to work.
Now you had a couple more. Let's say we've only got just a couple more minutes.
Okay, here's the one the other one that really gets me is that they're testing new delivery systems, from pizzas to anything else that they can put in these small little. Yeah. They got 6 wheels, 3 on a side. It's remote controlled. It's got an antenna, and it goes where it follows GPS. It'll go wherever you want. Problem 1: I could actually easily pick one of these up, put it in the truck, and stop, and walk away, not just with the content, but with the whole vehicle.
Well, yeah, okay, but of course it's already GPS enabled, so they'll be able to track that.
Except if I can now, because it's GPS and it's got an antenna, that means I can hack the computer.
Yes, and I imagine this is something that's not going to be. It's going to have to go on roads. It's going to have to, in order for it to be fast enough to deliver pizza, it's going to have to sit there on the roads next to your car. So how are you going to ensure something like that?
It's not that big. The size is going to go down sidewalks.
Okay, but now that it's going down sidewalks, you've just reduced the amount of speed that you can go.
That's it.
Yeah, there's that to me. I like the aerial drone concept more than any kind of ground drone, but even then, I'm not keen on that. I don't think that's going to, pardon the pun, lift off anytime soon.
No.
I know who is it? Amazon, I think. They're experimenting with it over in the UK, but
yeah, it ain't gonna work.
Yeah, it's just not gonna fly here. Bump. This is Benjamin Rockwell, and that is Steve Keske. You're listening to Computer Talk Radio. I'll be back with my closing comments in just a moment. Years ago, I found a web hosting company that fit my needs as a computer nerd, as a radio show host, and, well, a normal person. Recently, though, it became clear to me that it was time to upgrade. I had a choice between my old plan and the new one at 7 times the cost. It was that awkward point where I could choose between a sip of water or being dunked in a pool. I searched around, comparing the many options for someone like me. After looking for 3 weeks, there it was, SiteGround. In proper fashion, I tested their customer service, their knowledge, and their care, their willingness to do things the right way. The SiteGround salesman made sure that I didn't overbuy and get a 50-gallon bucket when all I needed was a 1-gallon bucket. The folks at SiteGround know WordPress, Joomla, and more. SiteGround.com. S-I-T-E ground.com for your web hosting needs. SiteGround. There's this interesting case happening in Texas. In Ellis County, the district attorney there, Patrick Wilson, has been going after one of the lawyers, Mark Griffith. It appears that this particular lawyer has been posting his prayers on Facebook. Now, normally this would be fine. Okay, yeah, it's prayers. You can post your prayers. Great. But he's apparently been posting prayers in regards to the cases he's been working on. And I don't know the full detail behind these. I tried to find the right guy to track this all down. But it appears that the courts are raising an eyebrow here. Because, well, he's been praying in regards to the cases he's been working on. And when you pray, that's one thing. But when you're posting about the case you're working on, there is, well, okay, so you probably have heard this. Whenever you're in a jury, you're instructed you're not to read or listen to or view any accounts of the case during your trial. You're only supposed to see, you're only supposed to hear and view anything that the courts want you to view. That's why we wind up with interesting responses on certain cases where certain people are found guilty or not guilty, even though we in the general populace, the public, we see something and we go, what? How did they find that person guilty or not guilty? It's because there's a certain amount of information that's allowed having to do with how it was gathered and stuff like that, and we're not supposed to draw conclusions and stuff like that. So, what happens, though, if you're just reading your Facebook? You're reading your Facebook, and here's this guy, and he's posted, and then somebody else copied it, reposted it, that same prayer onto their own Facebook page. All of a sudden, you've got information that you're accidentally coming across that you really shouldn't be looking at if you're a juror. You really shouldn't be taking this into consideration. I think that we all need to pray more. I think we all need to be very careful about how we pray. Yeah, that's right. There are so many... Dear Lord, please give me a Lamborghini. Dear Lord, please give me $1 million. That's not the right way to pray. Lord, if it's your will, help me be a better man. Yeah, that's a much better prayer. You've got the idea there. And maybe if you do post those on Facebook, that would be one thing. But we have to be admonished that some of our prayers should be kept simple and quiet. There's a number of different references, if I recall correctly, in the Bible about that. I'll let you go chasing after that. But until next time, this is Benjamin Rockwell, and you're listening to Computer Talk Radio. We'll catch you next week.
Let me tell you about The Radio Factory, an exciting new venue for talk radio. It's the internet, the wave of the present. My name is Benjamin Rockwell, and I'm the host of a syndicated radio program, Computer Talk Radio. So I know the internet is here and now. Many of the hosts at theradiofactory.com have their own podcasts or radio shows across the country, but many people like the comfort of listening to their own special radio show at a specific time and day, much like we watch live television. The internet, as you're probably aware, is a powerful tool that allows the Radio Factory to deliver unique programming with far more variety than the windbags who are simply about contriving up viewpoints to get you riled up. Additionally, you'll find that many of the programs are shorter, giving more information in less time. Stick with theradiofactory.com and see how it evolves to keep you entertained, interested, informed, and above all, intelligent. After all, the Radio Factory motto is building your intelligence one talk show at a time.